Hamid Faiz Junior, known simply as Junior by his friends, is a man who follows his dreams. Though long based in Denmark, he's a proud Kenyan, and he dedicates his life to a project he holds dear. For Junior is the founder of Dasac, the Danish African Soccer Academy, a dream that stemmed from his love of the beautiful game. As an African footballer who succeeded in Europe, he's seen many fellow migrants fail to achieve their potential, and then often blame a cultural divide or their lack of national identity. So he decided to use his personal experiences to help push these young Africans on.
When you have these Africans, some of them are born here or grew up here when they were kids. And they are holding Danish passports and they are speaking Danish language. That's when you have Danish African Soccer Academy, meaning that they are part of Denmark and part of Africa.
His playing career saw him compete at the highest level in Denmark and represent the Kenyan national team. It was ended by a knee injury, but his love for football didn't wane even in retirement. He got involved in coaching and started a precursor to Dasac in Denmark, focusing primarily on young immigrants. But Junior quickly recognized an invisible barrier between the Africans and their Danish coaches.
They didn't understand the attitude and the culture of these kids. So it's like they're used to the straight lines, and like if you don't listen, you're out. And these kids start thinking it's about color. And I also will tell them sometimes maybe it's your attitude. So it goes both ways. So when we started, it was difficult for us to explain to these kids because they have this attitude where, I don't need to know anything. But then a bit by bit, they start following. So.
In 2005, Junior returned to Malindi, his hometown in Kenya. He had fond memories of growing up playing football in a safe, carefree environment, and he felt he owed it to the town's youth to give them the same experience. So began the African branch of Dasac, now an organisation catering to many age groups. But Junior can't do it all by himself and relies heavily upon his Kenyan staff.
Masab, who is, let's say, is my right-hand man, he's only 27 years old. So let's say he started involving himself when he was about just 22. And he loves sports, and by the way, he's also like brain behind all the things happening there locally. So I'm like, I have a great respect for this young man.
Mansab's role has now developed into that of stand-in manager when Junior is back in Europe. His hopes for the organisation are not all about on-pitch success. It's also about giving children the chance to succeed in life.
We teach them football and give them a proper education, just like a school would. Eventually, we'd like to create a polytechnic, an institution with its own workshop, a computer room, our own football pitch, and a library to help the youngsters get more access to education outside of time spent playing football.
Junior's influence on Mansab has been immeasurable. He enlisted the young man's aid back in Dasac's early days, and without him, keeping the youngsters focused and committed would have been nigh on impossible.
Today, Dasac has the best football team in Malindi, and that's thanks to Junior. When we started, many youngsters were into drugs, so we had to convince them to leave the drugs behind, and we helped as many as we could to get back into school.
Boys in Malindi are forced to grow up quickly. The pressure is often financial and may involve family obligations too, meaning that education and football often fall behind the need to provide for their loved ones.
In Africa, you have kids who don't have anything to eat, probably families are poor. Some of these kids don't have parents and so on. So let's say they are poor majority of them. And when you go back to them, they're like, okay, why should I go to school? Because you find a 14-year-old kid is telling you he's looking for a job or doing some odd jobs like housework. And I think, okay, I think he should be in school. So we start talking to these kids. They're telling them the only thing it's required for you to play football in my team or in our team is for you to go back to school.
Mohammed is one of Dasac's earliest members. Nicknamed Evra by his teammates, he's now an integral part of the first team and thinks nothing of self-sacrifice now he's seen how far Dasac has come.
I feel proud
to be in Dasac because I started young and now I have Dasac in my blood. I love it very much. Junior has helped us a lot because he's looked after us from when we were kids right up to now. Even if we don't have good facilities like a good pitch, we're nevertheless right behind him. We'll contribute a little bit of this or that, whatever is required, so that we keep our unity.
So that we keep our unity.
Dasac isn't the best team around for nothing. The effort put in by all parties has clearly paid dividends. But the smiles easily mask the story of a personal struggle to make a dream come true. For Junior is, for the most part, working hard on his own in a foreign land in order to ensure that his project continues.
It's difficult because I have been financing most of these projects myself, using my own money. For example, like I'm up 4 o'clock in the morning, go to work, and sometimes I work up to 5 o'clock. And let's say 10–20% of this money that I make goes to the project there in Africa. But that's okay. But we have not had any financial help whatsoever from any of the officials from KFF. I feel that they are failing to understand what's the real problem of changing the picture of Kenyan football. What they need is to put facility in place and stop thinking about what's the best for me and my people, but what's the best for Kenya and the youth and their football.
Kenya may be a long way from Junior's current home in Northern Europe, but whatever lies ahead, he wants his dream to bring as much to his homeland as it possibly can.